residents.
The thing about the Trump World Tower is that nobody knew that something that big could be built on that spot.
Frankly, I had great zoning, but nobody understood that. And I went in and got the zoning very quietly, got the plans approved extremely quietly, because I knew there was going to be a huge uproar when we announced a building that was over 900 feet tall.
It wasn't just the local community boards this time. He had some very powerful people who resisted the project.
One of the people opposed to it was Walter Cronkite. I mean, Walter Cronkite and I had a great relationship, and he came out against it.
Trump wanted me to design a 90-story tower, which meant he had to acquire an impossible amount of air rights.
Development in New York City are governed by a couple of factors. By how much you can build, described as floor area in New York City. So how many times the footprint of the building you can build. You can also try to merge your rights with those of a property next door.
Well, the process of accumulating air rights is a risky process because you can't really go too far ahead of yourself because the buildings have to touch. So I did it one by one. I did it the old-fashioned way. I got one. After I had that one, I got the other.
On top of the logistical complications, the United Nations also picked a war with the project.
Some people have wondered why it is that the zoning regulations permitted a building 2.5 times as tall as the UN right next to the UN, and it's not only people from out of town who are sometimes confused about that. It's not clear that the zoning regulations were intended to permit that.
Well, the United Nations threatened a lawsuit against the building because of the fact that no building in the area was supposed to be taller than the United Nations.
But Trump had an ace in the hole that I don't think even he knew.
I was about 5 inches to the left of where the line stopped, and therefore it didn't pertain to my building. So the United Nations was very unhappy about it.
Though the UN didn't have the legal wit to beat Trump, his local opponents were ready to match him with their own super attorneys.
A man named Villar, he was vicious, he was ruthless, he was violent. He funded over $1 million worth of lawyers and lawsuits. But the hard part about him was he sued me as the building was under construction. And I remember the banks having a fit. I said, "You're already pregnant, let's go forward."